Let's jump into some polling that just came out from Fox News. I see someone made a comment in the comment section already on Twitter saying that the polls are BS. Well, I mean, in general, I would agree that Fox News polls are BS because a lot of their polling is not scientific. Most of the polls that they run on their shows are BS polls. But they do have a department that is they actually run legitimate polling. And this is where it's coming from. The latest poll from Fox News says that the question that was polled is Trump's administration's response to recent hurricanes. His approval rating is, just for the hurricane alone, is 64% think that he did a poor or a fair job in Puerto Rico, 47%, 45% in Florida, and in Houston. But he's also polling at some seriously low numbers in terms of his job approval rating. Job approval rating alone, he has a 57% disapproval rating compared to 53% in September, 55% in August. 38% of Americans approve of what Donald Trump is doing. And that's kind of where I want to hone in this afternoon, is to focus on that 38% who still support Donald Trump despite all of the evidence that shows that he is the worst president that we've had in modern history by almost every measure, every metric. He is the worst president that we've had in modern American history. You know, something to be said about that, right? It's one thing to be ambitious and want to become the president. It's another thing to become the president and then go down as the worst president in history. That's truly an achievement that I think he should be proud of, that he's going down as the worst president in history, but not just for, you know, political, my team against your team kind of thing. Right. So that's a very basic way to view this. I think that it's a very simplistic is the word. That's an overly simplistic way of viewing this. There's some things that he's doing that are causing him to get this type of approval rating. And one of the things that he did today that is ridiculous, that I feel like we shouldn't even have to talk about, but we have to talk about because he's the president of the United States and he's demonstrating exactly how utterly ridiculous of a person he is. I want to play an audio clip, if I can pull that clip up, of Donald Trump today still doubling down on this Sergeant LaDavid Johnson issue. And it seems utterly ridiculous because it is, right? Before I even play the clip, this should not be a story. This should be a non-story. This should be something that died last week. And President Trump had every ability to make this thing disappear last week. He had every ability to simply do the most basic thing, which is this. I did not intend to hurt the widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, but my words did. And for that, I apologize. Do you know his approval ratings? If he could just say that very simplistic sentence, his approval ratings would not have gone out of the roof because he's still a moron, but his approval ratings would have not been what they are now. That I can tell you that much. You know, so anyway, that's what he started off with this morning. I don't want to play because it's unbelievable that he's still doubling down, tripling down on this issue that should really be a non-issue. Here we go. Let's take a listen. Let's see if I can get it to play.
Lovely lady. I've never seen her. I've never met her, but she sounds like a lovely lady. But I was extremely nice to her. I was extremely courteous, as I was to everyone else. You know, it's interesting. You folks have called many people that I spoke to. Everybody has said unbelievable good things about me, but you never report that. Did you report it? Did you report it? Thank you. Come.
What about your message to her?
I can only say this. I was really nice to her. I respect her. I respect her family. I certainly respect LaDavid, who I, by the way, called LaDavid right from the beginning. Just so you understand, they put a chart in front, LaDavid, says LaDavid Johnson. So I called right from the beginning. There's no hesitation. One of the great memories of all time.
Great memories.
There was no hesitation. I think she's a fantastic woman. I was extremely nice to her, extremely respectful.
Now, how utterly useless is that entire conversation? How completely and utterly useless is that conversation? Because all he ever had to do was say, America knows I did not try to hurt this woman. I would not call someone to try to hurt. He could have taken the moral high ground. He could have made everybody, including Frederica Wilson, look silly by simply being an adult. Not a magnanimous person, nothing special, but simply an adult. Someone who has offended someone and they did not mean to offend that person. What do you do in that kind of scenario? You say, listen, I had no intention of hurting you, but apparently my words did. And for that, I apologize. Now, I have some people on Twitter. One person said, oh, you haven't heard the real call. If you heard the real call, she made a real complete 180. You leftists are crazy or something to that effect. Can I tell you how ridiculous the right conservatives are? Can I tell you how utterly, there's no other way to say it, but y'all are stupid as hell, man. You people on the right, like let me tell you, I'm dealing with some Democrats right now that I think are ignorant, right? I think they're extremely ignorant, and we'll talk about it because it ties into the Russiagate in the black community. We'll talk about that because it's ridiculous, it's insidious, and it shows a level of ignorance that I'm ashamed of actually exists on this side of the Republican Party. But you conservatives have to be some of the most ignorant morons I've ever heard and seen in my life. Because number one, this is how desperate they are to protect Führer Hitler. I mean, I'm not, oops, slip. Trump. They are so eager to protect them that they actually did two things. One, they made a fake Facebook post allegedly from Maisha Johnson. Right? They made a fake Facebook post of Maisha Johnson, allegedly of Maisha Johnson attacking Frederica Wilson. And they spread that around and became super viral and everyone had to start investigating. Turn out it's a fake account. This is childish, ridiculous. I mean, I don't even have the words to actually describe because I'm trying not to use profanity, but that's the extent to which they will go to protect their dear leader. Right? They would forge this. And then there is a video. This is the other thing. They don't know black people. All black people look alike to them, apparently, because there is a video of a woman who recorded the phone call with Donald Trump, and she had a good experience with Donald Trump. That was shared last week. That went viral. I think a lot of people have seen it. But now they don't know the difference between one black woman and another black woman because she's black. She has a husband that's in the military, even though her husband was, I believe, Hispanic or a person of color. He wasn't black, but, she's black and she got a phone call from Trump. Therefore, this must be Maisha Johnson. That shows you just how ignorant these people really are. They can't tell the difference between two black women. All of this to protect themselves from having to come to terms that they have a president who is a complete man-child. He is incapable of having a bit of empathy and doing anything except for coddling his own insecurities. He's incapable of doing something as simple and beneficial to himself as saying, I did not mean to hurt that young woman. I think America knows I did not intend to hurt that woman. But apparently my words hurt her. And for that, I apologize. And what's ridiculous is that as simple as what I'm saying is, it is that impossible for Donald Trump to say something like that. I mean, really think about that. Any reasonable adult who has had a healthy relationship in their life at least one healthy relationship in their life knows that at some point you are going to have to apologize for something that you did not intend to do. Any mature, reasonable, mentally healthy adult, not that you can't do this and not have any mental health problems, but people who are in their right state of mind and not dealing with the gross level of narcissism and sociopathy like Donald Trump. He's a sociopath. Any reasonable adult not dealing with those two mental health issues could look at this situation and realize that sometimes as an adult, you should simply apologize because you offended someone and you didn't mean to. And instead of accepting that, we're on week 2, 3 of this. I don't know how long is this? 2 weeks. 2 weeks of this. This just happened today. And for people who are like, oh, this is just a distraction. Okay, yeah. But I think this distraction reveals the depth of Donald Trump's narcissism. It is debilitating. He is not capable of doing his goddamn job because of it. This right here, to me, signals to everyone in America that he is not a healthy adult male. He is very unhealthy mentally. He is suffering from a severe personality disorder. He is suffering from the complete lack of empathy and inability to show any concern for anyone else but his own ego. And we're dragging this out to 3 weeks because we have a man in the White House who's, and this is why his polling is so low, right? This is why his polling is so low. Let me share one other thing that he did today. I don't know how long this one is. It might be too long. I might have to cut it off in the middle of it. But Donald Trump today, he starts meetings. He starts off every meeting with his cabinet members or people who, with his cabinet members, apparently, making them say things that are positive about Donald Trump. Let me see if I can get this one to play. Let's take a listen into him making people say that he's a good person.
Lieutenant Governor, you've done a fantastic job, and I appreciate it. And the people of Texas appreciate it. Actually, the people of the country really appreciate it. So I want to thank you very much.
Well, Mr. President, once again, we thank the President for being here in Texas once again. He continues to show his commitment to helping Texans respond to the disaster of Hurricane Harvey and the flooding events. He has seen firsthand the challenges that Texans face through his multiple trips to Texas. He's seen homes that were destroyed, businesses that were destroyed. He's seen the needs that we have. And so the ongoing commitment that he has to ensure that Texans are going to be able to respond and rebuild is essential not just to Texas, but also vital to the United States of America because of the powerful engine for the American economy that Texas provides. So, Mr. President, I applaud you for constantly working with me and the people of the state of Texas to make sure that we recover. Thank you very much.
The response from this administration.
This is the next guy.
Has far exceeded any previous administration.
Okay, I can't listen anymore. I'm sorry, I can't. This is them. They're going. This is in Texas. Governor Abbott and Governor Dan Patrick. They're going one by one to lavish Donald Trump with praise. That's some insecure stuff, man. That's like most people, most healthy adults would at least engage in false humility, where even if they appreciated this kind of thing, even if they relish in this type of thing, they know that it is unbecoming, right? And they would at least say, no, don't talk about me. Let's talk about the people of Texas. But not Donald Trump. He just sits there and eats that shit up. It's like manna from heaven. He loves that shit. That's what he gets off on. And he does this almost everywhere that he goes. He sent out a tweet this morning talking about the meeting that he had with Senate Republicans on yesterday. And he was talking about how it was a love. I shit you not. I'm going to read the exact language of it. He's talking about how it was a love fest. And senators who came out of it said that it really was a session where Donald Trump just bragged on himself. But to Donald Trump, it was a love fest. It's because he, I just want to get to it. Hey, I really just want to get it. So nice to be okay. Here's one of it. He said, so nice to be with Senate Republicans today, Republican senators today, multiple standing ovations. Most people are going to blah, 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 tax cuts. We'll talk about tax cuts in a minute. Here's the one from this morning. He said, the meeting with Republican senators yesterday outside of Flake and Corker, which we'll talk about in a minute, was a love fest with standing ovations and great ideas for the USA. Bruh. Any conservatives that are listening in, if you still support this man, if you are in that 38%, y'all thought I forgot about the poll numbers. No, this is what I'm setting up the entire time. If you are in the 38% of people who still support Donald Trump, you have issues. You are part of the problem. You are not stable yourself. Because I was going to say you're hypocritical and disingenuous, but I won't even say you're those things. I think that you have intellectual deficiencies and there's something wrong with you, right? There's something wrong with your brain. It's not functioning properly because you're unable to see that you all have elected a man who should not be allowed in public, let alone the White House. How in the world are 38% of Americans, which is historically low, right? Which is laughably low, which is why you get cowards like from Jeff Flake, who says, well, I'm not going to run for office, so now I'm going to take this time to attack Donald Trump. I don't think Jeff Flake is a hero. I think he's a coward because he's not staying to fight, number one. But number two, he sure as hell voted for that bill last night that's going to take away your right to join with other American consumers and sue banks who defraud you. Right. So he's no hero just because he comes out against Donald Trump. So Congressman Ted Lieu saying, oh, welcome to the resistance. The hell not. I think not. He is not part of the resistance. Jeff Flake is one of the people we have to resist. So he's so low. Donald Trump is so low in the polling that the Republicans are starting to turn on him. But you have this core constituency that will not turn on Donald Trump no matter what, because they are just as crazy as him. Ben, that's ableist language. Please give me another word, because I can't really think of another word right now besides they are off their rockers.